Hey party people, this is Editor Ben here. Just wanted to give a quick content warning for this episode. We do get into discussions of suicide and mental health, so please do what you gotta do to take care of yourself. Enjoy. This episode of Lore Drop is sponsored by R. Gene Smith. Thank you so much for all your hard work and support, Mom.
They have a real world counterpart. And I was like, which doctor doesn't? Unless Wendell had a really bad psychiatrist. But
could be your
you
dentist.
Know, yeah, could be
Not the dentist.
That's wild.
Ben has beef with dentists.
Me too.
Yeah.
I hate them. No offense to any dentist watching this.
But be better.
I know what you did.
Hello! Welcome to Lore Drop, a reinvent podcast. I did that right the first time.
Nice.
I'm Abby, the executive director of Reinvent Productions.
I am Ben, the creative and artistic director.
And our third party member today is our friend.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I played Witch Doctor.
Yeah. Emma was in our first stage production of the year, Ordinary Heroes. Fun fact, she last minute came in to read for the table read of the show, and then...
Completely different character.
Yeah.
Because someone couldn't be there.
Yeah. And I called in a panic saying, hey, please, please, please. And then we got her to play our big bad for the show,
Mwahaha.
which is really cool. Which is who we're talking about today. We're talking about Witch Doctor, who originally was a character made just for Ordinary Heroes, but Emma being Emma talked herself into being an Eldritch Being.
You know, it's a typical Saturday night for me.
But we're going to talk about that today, which is going to be really fun. But before we get started with that, we must decide the most important part of this episode, which is what animated trio the three of us are today. And you said you had one locked and loaded?
Yes. I'm going to give us a throwback,
Ooh.
and I'm going to say Billy, Mandy, and Grimm from the Grim Adventures
man.
of Billy and Mandy.
Nice. And
Yeah.
who's who?
I would like to believe I am Grimm, but I think it's Ben because Ben's the most stable. And I think I might be Mandy and you might be Billy. But I think it trades.
I
Yeah.
can agree with that.
I think
It
it's
depends
a
on who
trade-off.
has the brain cell at the time.
Does the black cat have it or the orange cat have it? You know?
And usually the orange cat doesn't have it, so we'll see.
And the black cat has lost it, so we'll see what happens.
You're telling me I was supposed to keep track of that thing?
Yum, 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 yum.
That's crazy. Wow, I love that. That's great. Man, I
That's
haven't
good,
thought
that's
about that
good.
show in years.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorites.
It is one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
I can't remember if that was a show I wasn't allowed to watch and still watched
Probably.
it.
I cannot imagine your parents letting you watch that show.
They didn't let me watch SpongeBob. I don't think my
Oh,
parents.
your parents didn't let you watch SpongeBob either? I didn't know we had that in common.
It went like back and forth of like, I just like never got the appeal of SpongeBob either. So it was like, I think
Oh,
I was
man.
I think I was an elitist a little bit as a kid.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy.
I don't think my parents knew about Grim Adventures of Bill and Mandy, to be completely honest.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would sneak it in my bedroom on my princess TV.
Yo.
And it was that encouraged the Cowardly Dog.
yeah.
And those were my two favorites, and I feel like that explains so much
I
about
was
me
allowed
now.
to watch Courage.
Really?
Interesting.
So
'Cause
Courage,
that's
but not
all over.
SpongeBob.
Yeah,
Return the
that's
slide.
crazy.
yeah, Courage was scary.
That one's wild, yeah. The two that I was not allowed to watch that I remember specifically were Johnny Bravo.
What?
And I don't know that one, but the other one was Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Oh,
was
yeah.
I
one.
was
That one
not
was banned.
allowed to watch that,
That one was
either.
banned.
That was one that if I was like homesick during the day, I would
Yes.
turn it on, and that was I was like, hey, I'm watching the show I'm not supposed
And
to.
you have the remote in your hand and the finger on the
Switch
last
it.
button
Yeah.
just in
Yep.
case.
Yep.
But the thing is that after watching a few episodes, and I was like, oh, I don't like this anyway.
Kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I distinctly remember my mom saying, "This is the kind of show that makes you dumb," for Ed, Ed, and Eddie, and I was like,
Crazy.
"That's fine."
And, you know, fair.
Fair enough.
All right, cartoons aside. So, Witch Doctor,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
she was a character that was written specifically for Ordinary Heroes.
hmm
which if you haven't listened to our previous episodes, Ordinary Heroes is a semi-autobiographical piece that Ben wrote, and that was our season opener for Reinvent Productions and our first official show under our nonprofit banner, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So tell us about putting Witch Doctor to page first.
Yeah. So the initial idea with Witch Doctor was that she appeared in the comic books that Wendell was writing as this sort of character that was meant that really got put into action from Wendell's own grief and anger and depression. In the progression of the play, we see first in the trick shot issues this character named Doc Patterson, who is this town doctor in an old west town. And that trick shot is like, all right, I need to find Doc Patterson and all this stuff, and he's like hunting her down for whatever the reason is,
because she's committing witchcraft.
Yeah, allegedly. And so the thing that was interesting to me in writing it, at least, was that like Doc Patterson would show up. Like the first scene that she shows up in is like the writer's block scene, and so that's when they all just sort of like stop midway through the scene, and like it's really funny because you guys did trick me, the playwright, one tech rehearsal into thinking you actually forgot your lines. It took me a few seconds to realize what was going on. It's like, oh man, these actors are great.
Yes.
So yeah, Doc Patterson would show up as this sort of like, maybe she's supposed to be the antagonist of these scenes or not. And then, more of it happens after that. And then she shows up again in the scene where Wendell, after his mom has been deployed, he tears up the writing that he's doing and destroys it and everything. And then the next time she shows up, it is not as Doc Patterson. It is as Witch Doctor, finally.
Cue pleather pants.
Yes.
And this is also when Sheriff
Bridges turns into Sheriff Skull.
Yes.
Yeah. And the idea of this was, the whole thing was like, now the world itself has been turned into a dark, twisted version of that trick shot's world, right? Where he is the only one he has the same name, but even he is a darker version of himself. He's much more gritty and not quite as comedic. His bad luck is not played for laughs in that scene. It is played as the tragic moment of the scene. And so with that, I remember like toiling over it, and especially in the writing process, trying to find, because I tried my best to find heroes and villains from the Reinvent library that were already like paired up in my brain. So like Captain Amazing and Booming Boxer were already paired up. Sneak and Fortunato were already paired up. And then I was looking at Trickshot and Richard, and I was like, oh man, who do I put in here? And Lady Earthquake was one that I was like, well, I have this name lying around and I have a basic concept of the character, so I can throw this in here and flesh it out a little bit. And then Witch Doctor was one that I was like, or for Trickshot, I was like, he doesn't have any villains.
Well,
at this point.
I don't know if you I can't remember if I had told you about this, but Trickshot started as a villain. Well,
yeah, I listened to the Trickshot episode.
Yeah.
Loosely villain.
Yeah. He's a jobber.
He's a jobber.
Not a job. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, like, I wouldn't even say that Trickshot is in Ironsight's rogues gallery.
No.
He's like on the outside of it, being like, hey, can I be in it? No,
Yeah.
please. So it was interesting whenever I saw that you were putting Gary as like a hero character. I was like, oh, he gets to be a good guy this entire time. Because I even wondered, like, when I was reading drafts, I was like, oh, is he going to turn into a bad guy later? Is that and I was like, oh no, he's just going to be a sweet cowboy this entire time.
Yeah.
But both Richard and Trickshot were big players within the Dynamite campaign. And there were a lot of weird villains throughout the Dynamite campaign. We had a Null that we could not.
In D&D, a Null is like a humanoid hyena.
It's like a giant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who like turns other people into Nulls by like basically eating, parts of dead body, and then that transfers this disease, and then they will turn into a Null.
I hate it.
Yeah.
So there was one encounter where Null number 4 got away, and then he came back as a big bad guy, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
But yeah, I'm glad that you didn't have Null number 4. What would we name him? Gunter or something? Nother.
Yeah.
Nother's
Yeah.
He got mage handed down to
Eldritch Blast, you guys, because that. So in that scene, so he shows up the first time in like a desert ambush type thing for the party, and then it's a bunch of them, and so he was the last one standing, so he just ran away, right? Because I was like, this is just a random encounter, no names are required, right? So he was just the number 4 one, and then he showed up again later. I would just put him in random places. You guys actually, I remembered this the other day. He was on the train.
Are you kidding
that you guys
me?
were on? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
When you were heading north in that one session, but the one that you guys encountered, and later on he's in like a series of boss fights that is like these are all characters who got away from the party at some point. And so one of the players is playing a warlock, and he has Eldritch Blast, and he got the invocation that lets it that if you hit something with Eldritch Blast, you pull it 10 feet towards you. Well, when they came into this fight, it's in the foyer of this castle, and so Nothur is standing at the top of a giant staircase. And there is fall damage rules in D&D, and so I was like cool, you pull him, and I rolled, and the thing is it was a nat 20, a critical hit, and so my rule is that you roll the damage and then you roll damage, add modifiers, and then double, because that gets like the highest number, because I love big number, go burr. And so critical hit plus on top of the fall damage. I was like, I said all damage gets doubled, so fall damage too. And so by the time he hit the bottom of the steps, he was dead. And then the fight started.
All I can think is Nanta, the ring general.
Yeah. That was what he wanted to be.
He thought that was him.
And
He thought it was him,
Yeah.
and he was Ludwig
was
Kaiser
not.
the whole time.
Man.
Yeah. So as you're looking for a villain for Trickshot, did you have any characters from like Dynamite or Cataclysm that you had in mind that might get thrown in here?
There was one character who I had thought of who didn't show up, showed up in one session of the Cataclysm campaign as like a character that they saved, was the son, Daniel Patterson, the son of Elijah Patterson, one of the NPCs that they interacted with the DCPD. Because Daniel later goes on to become a villain known as One Shot. They save him, basically. Him and his twin sister were like taken by this serial killer and held as hostages, and they're like, they're attached to a bomb, and you can basically undo there was a series of honestly really unfortunate roles to try and save these two, and so they saved the daughter, Tanya, which was the original name of Doc Patterson, but not Elijah. And so he had died, but then the cleric Navita had like used the spell Revivify to bring him back to life. And so with that, and we've talked about this on a couple episodes, I think, at this point, but he is a hyper, so gets powers after a near-death experience. And so he can like just fire off energy blasts from his hand when he makes like a gun shape in his hand. And so he becomes a villain known as One Shot. And so that was initially what I wanted to have as the villain for Trickshot. So we have Trickshot and One Shot, these two like cowboy type characters. But then I looked at that and I was like, I don't know how interesting this can be, because then I was writing and I was like, I don't know, let me just throw a witchcraft accusation in there. And then I was like, wait a minute.
The hamster started running faster.
The core of Reinvent is all about mixing sci-fi and fantasy together. And so Ordinary Heroes as is was already throwing a lot of the fantasy away by ditching the D&D parts of it to meld more in the comic book part of it. And so I was like, ooh, this is a chance actually to infuse some of the magic stuff behind it a little bit more. So I made the switch from Daniel to Tanya, and then after a while, I was like, this isn't even like really representative of any version of Tanya's character. So I was just like, nope, this is just, her last name is Patterson, and that's what we get. And then we changed it to Teresa later on.
Well, and what I am happy about is like bringing our big bad having magic into the fray, basically, is that all of our counterparts, like from Universe 1 to Universe 17, everyone in Universe 1, barring Richard, is human.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot of characters, like Lady Earthquake is a Dragonborn, and
Booming Box is a half elf.
yes, and then like Dark Fog's a tiefling. But we didn't do that for this version, but I think having the simplified version of being like, there are superheroes and then there's magic. And then in 3.3, you see that certain characters like Book and Miss Fortune were using magic, and Lady Earthquake ends up using magic in our towards the end of the show. But having the big bad be such a big player with magic was a fun conflict between the heroes, and also made for some really cool choreography.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew pretty early on from the idea of turning Doc Patterson into Witch Doctor then that I was like, oh no, she's going to be the one who is like the antagonist really from that point forward.
Yeah.
And especially because like structurally she's never there for the roundups to actually talk and like be
she's
in
only there for
community
the
with them.
first one, and even then she's being mean.
Yeah, no, she's
the
not
worst.
kind.
Yeah. Well, and there's even like I remember watching that one night and I was like, man, everyone else is really kind of like dismissing her questions a lot too.
Yeah.
Because like all of the rest of the heroes are just like, we don't have time for this. We gotta. And it's like, someone explain, please.
Come on.
I'm new here. What's going on?
Got to take care of our child. This is something that clicked in my head just now, even after directing it and being in the play. I love that our big bad for this was a lady. Specifically because we have it pointed out in through Red Notice and Dark Fog dialogue that like Wendell gets better at writing his female characters to a detriment a little bit. Like by the time that she kind of gets a mind of her own, which we will get into that because it is kind of like with the director hat on, I was trying to navigate. I'm like, how much control does Witch Doctor have over the story, and how much of this is actually Wendell? Because we had it that Witch Doctor was a personification of Wendell's anxiety, and I know that I've had times where I've written things where I'm an anxious wreck, and then I look back at it and I'm like, ooh, this was a little heavier than I meant it to be or like intended it to be, which I loved. There was one night, and this is why I'm so glad that we had Emma in this role, because every time I was like, hey, can you just try this thing? And she'd do it. And I'm like, I'd throw my hands up in the air and be like, yes,
Yeah.
thank you for doing my job for me and reading my mind. But there's a moment where it's in the Richard Saves the World issue, which is poorly named.
Because he does not.
We call it a red herring.
He tries his best.
That was a really funny joke we had in the booth. Anytime like Rebecca would say Richard saves the world, and we'd just be like, does he?
Yeah. Anyway, can you cue up the green lightning real quick?
Yeah.
But at the end of that, so it's like Wendell starts writing that issue while he's having a panic attack, and at the end of it, the issue, Witch Doctor is like doing a really cool villain monologue towards Richard and blah blah blah, being like, I'm so awesome, see you later. Punk
Ponytail.
But she has the line, until we meet again, and I was like, can you try saying that line at Sam, who's our friend who played Wendell? And I think the first time I asked you to do it, he wasn't even there. And so then when you did it in person with him in person the first time, he was like, oh, that's really scary.
Yeah. Because it got more intense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
every time.
Yeah. No, you ran. I was like, go, keep running, go, run faster.
What else can you add?
Yeah.
Me. Oh.
Oh.
Well, and I don't know if this is how you were growing up. I was always that kid who got told to pull it back. Not just on stage, but just like in life in general, like don't be as big. Which that didn't mess me up at all.
No, totally.
I'm so well adjusted. And
What makes you think that I'd be that type?
And I'm not self-conscious that I'm being a spaz on stage every time I walk on stage. Never ever. I would never think that. But I do remember telling you, Emma, it was like, I will pull you back. And I don't think I ever did.
No.
No, because even in that last scene where things are like going haywire, I was throwing haymakers out of left and right, just different things to mess with different characters.
No, it was great. You scared the piss out of me one night. I was like, oh my gosh, that's my friend right now. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're just playing. We're playing. It's just for fun.
It's just the green eyeshadow. It's just the green eyeshadow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. I really wish that I like, especially in that last fight in 3-3, that I was able to actually just watch what was going on, because I had to look at specific people to like keep up with the
Yeah,
sound
'cause the
cues.
cues were crazy.
Yeah. So I didn't really
was.
have the luxury of just like getting to look wherever I wanted to on the stage. But every now and then I would like catch something out of corner of my eye. I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Because I don't know if anyone ever caught it, but in the last fight, when Trickshot's gun doesn't fire, I would motion at the gun every night,
Ooh.
insinuating that I was the reason his luck was so bad.
Oh my gosh! I was hiding behind the
Yeah.
curtain at that point, so
Yeah,
I didn't
after
see that.
I just like bucked up at you.
I'm just gonna cry in the corner right now. Oh, that's so cool! I love that.
The squats I was hitting every night were
Yeah.
crazy for that
Girl.
part.
So, Witch Doctor was meant to be the big bad for ordinary heroes, and I remember making the point in rehearsals. I'm like, Witch Doctor is unique to this show, as was Brave, and we're going to talk about Brave in a couple of episodes with Sierra.
Yeah.
But we were like, oh, Brave, we'll probably make her Universe 17 counterpart at some point, make a hero. It wasn't until Emma made a comment in the booth
Yeah. Well, and
about Ted.
yeah, because there's the moment in the script as well. I remember writing up like the majority of 3-3 and be like, okay, cool, the magic is going to be the thing that they're using throughout this whole thing, right? And so using the spells and then adding on the thing of like, no, they have to call on some higher power to use magic, basically. And so I don't remember when it was or if it was always in my brain that I was like, because Ted is someone like was in the pre-show for What If and with Lady Legacy and was a voiceover character in Lady Legacy. But I did know I wanted, like, I think I was like mid-writing and I was like, ooh, yeah, this is the idea. And so I was like, cool, typed up the full name for Ted, and then I just put in the stage directions like, there's just a faint laughter. And I was just like,
That was faint.
yeah, I know, right? Not very faint. It was very pronounced. But writing that, and I was like, okay, cool. And I remember like people asking the first time, they're like, what's this name for A? And then B, what's with the laugh?
Also, shout out to Melissa for just full sending it one day for like figuring out the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Because there was one day she's like went for it, I feel like.
I told her the
Oh,
pronunciation.
she did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there was.
And she like wrote it down like syllable by
Phonetically,
syllable. Yeah.
not the IPA.
Yeah.
She did it. The first time she said it, I was like, man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I could never. I would sneeze.
But yeah.
Yeah, and it was every time like we'd start teching and the name would get said and it would me be going, that guy.
Yeah.
And I just turned to Ben one night and I was like, they have beef. I don't know what their beef is, but she's beefing with him hard.
And that made the gear start turning.
So what? And I'm trying to remember the timeline of this because this happened within the span of like a couple days.
Yeah.
While we were doing the show. So Ben and I have a note in our phone that we share because there's a thing or an element of Reinvent. It's the founders. There are 20 of them. At this point, before we had decided that Witch Doctor was going to be one of them, we had 4 or 5, something like that. We had Ted, Alan, Serafina, Alexander, and then there's one.
Vazuk.
Who?
Vazuk.
Bless you.
We had never like I had never mentioned his name, but he was in my Inktober drawings.
Oh, gotcha.
That one year that I was it was the year we were doing dramatic analysis.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
So those 5 and they're in pairs with each other. So like Serafina and Alexander they're a pair of siblings that are the founders for Emotion and Logic. And that's something that Justin and I are like writing a play with those characters. And we were like, oh, Ted's a founder. He's the founder of Memory. And then Alan is for
Time. Mm-hmm.
And then what was the other one?
Vazuk.
I think he's like Death or something metal like that.
The name would insinuate something.
Yeah.
Darkness.
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 Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Edgy.
Edgelord.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, she just came
The
out.
funny
She's
thing is,
beefing with everyone.
his aesthetic is like a goofy little like Mr. Mixapitalik guy.
that is really funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So it had been something that we had been, you and I had been talking about more, Ben, and like our friend Monica, she was like, give me a pair of these people I want to write and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know at some point we want to put, you and I are going to work on writing like a married couple that is one of the pairs.
Yes,
and
that's right.
so we have like a sibling pair, married pair, and not all of them will be paired like that, but we were like, oh, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to have this
But
because we
there's
have
some sort of dynamic between each pair.
yeah, it's like we have 10 pairs to work with. But all these open slots, you have the attribute that they are the founder of,
Yeah.
but not names with them. So it's fun, open world. So we started thinking, we were like, hold on. What if this witch doctor character is a founder in the sense because like, so Ted has his goofy little guy form that usually shows up on the Lady Legacy in Universe 17 because he really likes their ship. Yeah. But he also has his Eldritch form and like his true name and stuff. And we were like, what if Witch Doctor, like this is her normal form.
Yeah, her comic book character
Comic
form.
book character, but then also has the counterpart with that. And then you, Emma, like, when I say you ran, I was like looking at the note that you sent later of like your 3 a.m. like musings on your phone. I was like, this is crazy and awesome.
Yeah. Because I think I got the text that it was like, yeah, it would make sense if she's, you know, because you sent me a voice note. And then I was like, oh my God. And I was up till about like 3 or 4 a.m. And I was just hammering out things like in the note it has her feelings about memory, about time.
Yeah.
Like I think one is like time is lazy. Memory feeds on false hope.
Yeah.
Like all this edgy stuff.
Well, but it worked really well.
Yeah.
And so the idea with the founders that we're still like fleshing out exactly what they are because they're not gods.
No.
They aren't creators.
Don't tell her that. She'll get angry.
She can
She believes.
They are beings of immense power, and they are as old as the universe, the multiverse, you know, in entirety. But yeah, they still have domain over their specific thing, is what it is, right?
What I remember saying in the voice memo is that I think that Witch Doctor as a in her true form hangs out in Universe 1 because that's where Wendell is, and that she has beef specifically with Wendell, but then anybody else that writes with him. Because like even with Reinvent, this started as something that Ben was writing by himself, but now there are so many people that are contributors to the world, and Witch Doctor does not like that.
Yeah.
So because if the stuff that's happening in Universe 1 happens, that means the rest of the universes are happening because everything spawns from Wendell and his collaborators. Like that's where all the characters come from. And she, for some reason, doesn't like whimsy, I guess. I don't know. What do you think?
No, well, seeing as she is this is kind of like my idea of it, right? The founder of reality. That's her, right? And she sees other people trying to escape from this reality through creating these characters. And she is saying, no, you will look at what's happening around you and you will face it now.
Yeah.
Because by creating, they take away her control. And in my mind, she is a younger sibling to these kind of founders. And this is the one facet of control she has. And she doesn't care how she keeps it. She is going to keep it somehow or another. So I don't think she started off with Doc Patterson.
Yeah.
I think there was a ripple in Doc Patterson when things got ripped with Wendell. And then she snaked in.
Ooh, I like that.
Because that's one of the we've written up like rules regarding the founders and like things that, you know, they're we're not going to go into like the whole thing in this episode, but one of the things with the founders is that when they enter a universe, they have to abide by the rules of that universe. And so with that one, with Universe 1 especially, like, okay, if you're in here, you have to be one of the comic book characters. And so, yeah.
Fine, I'll be the one accused of witchcraft. It's fine. But, and you know, it makes sense because, you know, all the other like adults or people have like tie-ins in 3.3. They have a real world counterpart. And I was like, Witch Doctor doesn't, unless Wendell had a really bad psychiatrist. But
Could be your
you know,
dentist.
yeah, it could be
Not the dentist.
That's wild.
Ben has beef with dentists.
Me too.
Yeah.
I hate them. No offense to any dentist watching this.
But be better.
I know what you did. But she doesn't have a tie-in. So to me, it was kind of like Witch Doctor and Doc Patterson are two separate entities. Doc Patterson means no harm to Wendell. Is she still kind of mean? Yes. But she doesn't become a threat until Witch Doctor overtakes the vessel that is presented to her.
Yeah. And I think that works great. Because the other thing, this was another thing that you and I were going back and forth about, that like being the founder for reality, you could choose to see that reality sucks, but also is wonderful and beautiful and great. She is focusing on it sucks, and like very focused in on the negative parts of reality instead of like accepting the fact that like reality can be a good positive thing. And I just wonder if there is something that Ted did that caused that for her to change her perspective on how she views things.
Oh.
Probably.
Who's to say?
Well, I say.
Well, and I think especially like what you're talking about, it's very right now in education, there's the debate has come back up in regards to like media literacy, and maybe it just never really went away when it comes to like looking into like the deeper meanings with like books and TV shows and all this kind of stuff, right? And so what you were saying about like, no, you can't just escape this reality. It seems like she's almost like anti-escapism as well.
Yeah.
And that makes me think of people who are like, oh, if you're there's like the one side of the coin is like the super like highbrow Criterion bros who are like, no, you have to watch films that mean something, right? It is not just for escapism. And then there's other people who are like, I like watching Hero do big punch.
Yeah.
And that's what I want right now.
And I will watch the Minecraft movie
Right.
now.
and that's one of the things that I've had that conversation with my students before whenever we're doing table work, where it's like you can, and I tell them, it's like I can tell you as a playwright, there are some times when I'm writing that I'm like, yeah, I am inserting deeper meanings and subtext and themes into this everything. There are other times when I'm just like, this is the story and some meaning will come out of it. And so whenever you're ingesting any art in that way, you can approach it in the same way. Like authorial intent is absolutely important. It's not everything. There's always additional meaning that you can grab and pull from anything.
Yeah.
And so that's like the discussion of some people are like, they said the curtains are blue. That means the curtains are blue.
And it's the
versus it's about
sea.
depression or the sea or whatever it is, right? And so I think that's really fun and like indicative of like that sort of sphere of people being like, no, it has to be this, that, or the other. And in the world, it's just like, it is what it is.
And I do believe she probably had like a good bit of whimsy when she was like first starting out.
Yeah.
And then something happened that diluted it for her. Maybe she had to report to a council of the founders and she was like, maybe I did it, maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
It could also be that Ted did something that she got blamed for, or that she ended up getting or it could be something that they did together. What if they were friends? They were like besties, and then they got in trouble, but she got in more trouble. And he doesn't care. He's like, oh, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But she took it to heart.
She has a vendetta now.
Yeah.
She's like, I never get in trouble. That's not how this works.
I was the good one.
Yeah.
No, like anytime I got in trouble as a kid, I was like, I'm just gonna die.
Yeah,
now, guess.
I was the rat. I didn't get in trouble because I sold out everyone.
Oh my gosh.
That's wild.
I was the one. I'm not going down for you.
Nope.
Yeah.
Going back to the idea of like writers injecting meaning or like not meaning to inject meaning, and sometimes it happens. A thing I really enjoy about theater as an art form in particular is that like whenever you bring other minds into the process, it's like you start with the writer's version of it, and then I get a hold of it as a director, and then we all get a hold of it as actors all together, and then designers. And there's certain things that we can add as designers that up the meaning that audience members might not catch, but it might be for us. So like, I think this was the week of the show. I remember driving you to school, and I made both of us cry at like 7:05 a.m. before the sun came up.
Brutal.
Because I realized that with me as Sneak wearing long sleeves in Act 2, that was a representation of Sneak also being hurt. And I was like, that was an accident. I was just like, I just wanted to use the edgy little striped shirt I had, but I don't want to wear it the whole show because it's hot. And I was like, I did that, and Ben was like, oh, okay. And you cried a little bit.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
But I mean, and it was something, it was for me, it was something that like it helped me like kind of embody that sullen teenager, because like Sneak is very puppy dog, golden retriever vibes up until Trickshot dies.
Yeah.
And then is very Dark Night of the Soul vibes. So like that was a design choice that I was like, oh, and it wasn't even a choice that I made consciously at the beginning. So like I was like, oh, this here's another layer of meaning on top of that. And
it's crazy because with Witch Doctor, all the different costumes that I had, because there were so many, but it was,
you had so much time in between your
I
scenes.
did. I was like, I can put on a new wig.
Yeah.
But it sort of aided to kind of showing how she's starting to break. She can no longer manage this form that she has taken on.
Yeah.
So her pants start to become torn. There's black lines across her face where the physical form looks like it's cracking.
Yeah.
And it didn't start off that way intentionally, but then it was like the snake print that started to creep into different things and the other things that started to come out. And it was telling a story that I didn't even know I was writing till I sat down at 3 a.m. in my notes app.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
and that's just the fun thing that like we can, it's like anytime that somebody is like, oh, Shakespeare's so brilliant, he like had all these hidden meanings and stuff, and I was like, I don't think he had all those meanings. You know, some of those.
He's a guy who got drunk and stayed up until 5 a.m. because he was at his deadline for his new pages, and he was like, He
was in the bar cracking jokes with his friends.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, that's great. And he was like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A good chunk of jokes are dirty.
What?
And that's just what they are. That's just what they are. And it's not that deep. But we as smart people, and they're like over past hundreds of years of like having Shakespeare's text, of like so many smart people getting their hands on it to be able to be like, oh, like that's part of the art, is like adding meaning on top of it. There's no way. Like if Will saw all the books that were written about his writing, he'd just be like, he'd be like, this is the greatest con I've ever pulled.
Yeah.
But I think that that's the fun thing, though, is that like as we're making discoveries, as we're going through the process of performing the show, like there were moments that I was having during our last performance that I was like, oh, this is a discovery. I wish that we had been able to run it longer, but I was also tired, so I'm glad we only did one.
No,
weekend.
but it kept evolving.
Yes.
Like every night I'd walk up to Deacon and go, hey, I'm going to do this. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And Deacon, being so gracious, I am so thankful for Deacon. Deacon would look at me and go, do your worst. And I'd go, oh, you don't want that.
Oh. Well, that's one as well. I love using sound design as a way to like make everyone else's choices like pop even more. Because that's one as well that like, and I take this to heart, one of our teachers in undergrad, shout out Jeff, would always tell us is like, if you're a good designer, no one's going to notice the cool stuff you did. It's just going to be natural. It's going to make sense with whatever's happening, right? And it'll still look cool, but the audience isn't going to be like, oh, wow, yeah, that was a really good lighting cue right there, right? It's just going to be something that does look cool and it is awesome, but it makes sense and the audience doesn't question it.
Yeah, it definitely that 3.3 fight.
Yeah. One of those that was early on, and this was really melded the direction for a lot of the sound design work, because this show is very, from the sound design, was very musically oriented. There was a lot of underscoring and themes going on. One of which was there was a handful of songs that were served as real world motifs that would pop up. And there was one that I just called the dark motif, of like any dark/negative emotion that Wendell's experiencing. This is the bit that pops up. And of those real world motifs, that is the only one that transforms into a full character theme in the comic book world. That is Witch Doctor's theme, the full version of that motif. Right. And so we strip down the theme into just the melody, but the alternative flip side of that one is that I remember sitting there and like not, it was specifically when I went to finally edit together the All About for Wendell at the end, because all of the All Abouts featured the character's theme as the underscoring for that. And I was like, what am I going to put in this one? And so of the motifs I had, there was also like, there was an Alex motif and specifically a family and childhood one. And the family one had already been used for, that was another one that was two of my favorite sound cues. One was at the end of volume 2 when Alex is leaving. The last thing that plays, there's a little bit at the beginning of the scene that is like her theme. And then she's talking and it changes to the family motif instead. The other one is in 3.1, the like creative void, but when the heroes are all, or not the heroes, the characters are all there like comforting Sneak, the family motif plays. But the thing that really got me when it clicked in me, I was like, oh no, the childhood motif is Wendell's theme. Because of those motifs, and in like the behind the scenes thing, that was the only one that was like, oh yeah, no, that one does have other instruments that I took out of it. The other ones were just like as is by themselves, just solo instrument things. But this one is like, oh no, there are more things that I can throw in here and use for this. And it's one that's like, you only hear it once at the very end, but yeah.
No, it moved me every night because I'd get decked
Yeah.
and I'd run to the side because I'd have to run backstage for the
to
bows.
get back.
And I would be like, man, I kind of wish I was in the group hug.
Yeah.
No, that was the bummer. I was like, man, EB can't be in the last one. Ugh.
But it also makes sense, and that's when after the first time you guys choreographed the hug, I was in the audience and I walked up to Ben and I went, "Depression's gone now, but wait till grad school."
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing with Witch Doctor, is that she is never fully defeated in the show, and that was something that I really wanted to get across with like the fact that if she is a representation of Wendell's anxiety, that is something that didn't go away, hasn't gone away, and is always going to be there. And pumping my own tires, probably one of my favorite directing moments I've ever done has been you and Sam standing off at the end. Instead of like the last like bit of the dialogue, like after you get punched by Hayden, that the final like hero,
like 4 times.
the final hero look is at Sam, not at Wendell, not at Captain Amazing.
Yeah.
And the little head, the like little get out of here head motion that Sam did, I was like, that is so good. That was not me. That was all him. And I think the last 30 seconds of that play are like my favorite thing I've ever blocked. It's going to take a lot to top that, just because like the work that you did, Emma, and then like just the work that everybody was doing, and getting to run and jump somebody that's 10,000 feet tall is pretty fun.
Approximately.
Approximately.
Yeah.
But
It's better than getting fake decked by him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
4 times.
That was that was a sidebar. I was like, man, Captain Amazing's hitting this lady a lot. This is great. I get that she's a bad guy.
Witch Doctor's only weakness.
A man. I did want to point out one other thing. That is just the fact that you had so much time so you could make your costume and makeup more elaborate as we went. That was just something I was like, sure, go for it. Whatever, I don't care. I'll pull you back if I need to. But actively looking back at this now, I'm like, it's interesting that the character that was the most visually developed was Wendell's anxiety. Because out of all the characters, all of us had like logo, like t-shirt logos, like the ones that Ben and I made. And like some people had like little extra embellishments, but you were the only one that was like full costume.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little interesting tidbit
Yeah.
that
And I think it also just has to do with who I am as a person.
that is correct.
And considering all of her costumes except the logo T-shirt just came from my closet.
Yeah.
But to me, it felt like there had to be some semblance of change because she's growing in power. It's her own hubris.
Yeah.
You know, because like our anxiety will spiral so much that it leads to its own demise, right? Because it gets so big that you kind of look at it and you go, wait, come on. You know, so that's like why the hair got bigger.
Yeah.
The pants started to get torn and ripped, and there was more jewelry. Like there was points where I had like these metal claws on with these green nails, and it was so intense, only for her to be undone by a single punch to the face.
Yeah.
That is all it took, because I felt like, to me, it was a statement against even my own anxiety, because plot twist, I have anxiety.
What?
Whoa.
Someone who crazy has anxiety?
I know. Sponsored
Never
by
heard of her.
Xanax.
Oh my gosh, if Xanax sponsored us, we'd be set for life.
Right? We're not
crazy.
actually sponsored. But it was like this thought of like, how do I make it so obvious to the audience that their anxiety does not define them?
Yeah.
Because something that looks this grand, does this much, can be undone like that. You know, and that was kind of the thought I was putting into it. Because like for me, this character it helped me out of a creative rut that I was in because of like the work I was doing on my thesis and things like that. Like I had been working with this material for 3 years now. And it was right before the thesis went up.
Yeah.
And which is crazy.
I'll
It's
circle
absolutely
I'll circle
crazy.
back to that in a second.
Yeah.
You keep going. Though.
Yeah. It empowered me to keep making bold choices, even though they could have failed. Like, I will never forget, there was one night where we were in the final monologue and like the final scene, and I looked at you while I was talking about Captain Amazing, and I literally ran my finger across my neck, maintaining eye contact with
like,
Abby.
What is happening?
And I that was going on, and then I got hit, and I was standing backstage, and I went, Abby's either gonna love me or hate me after that one.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
I just want people to make choices. And I say that we're about to audition for at the point of recording this, we're about to audition for Talent Squad, Trust and Turmoil. At this point, it has been cast. That's crazy. But they're, again, just circling back to like, particularly, I see this a lot with women and like young girl actors that like, it's being told to be smaller and like not, and I'm just like, but we're performing.
We're taught to be very reserved.
Yes.
Which is crazy, because there's this whole section of acting, like the quote unquote character actress, which is a box I've been put into my whole life.
Yep.
But they're told to be bigger. But by the time they're telling these girls to be bigger, we don't know how to do that. And we have to figure it out. And it honestly comes from a lot of work you have to do on yourself, like on the inside, to be like, what do I have to do to feel comfortable enough to be a little weirdo on stage?
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like I didn't really figure that out until honestly doing playing Polly in Crazy for You. That was the first like big musical theater role that I had, that I was like, because she technically is the ingenue of the show, but she's a freaking dork. Polly is, she's a mess. But and I was still able to like kind of infuse some Abby into that role just with how it's written. But it was I was finally like, I remember it was a rehearsal with Sarah Crawford, changed my life. Where she said, you're being a film actor right now. I need you to be a musical theater actor. And that, I had been doing a lot of film at Missouri Western, and even though the majority of the performance I had done up to that point in my life was musical theater, I had been kind of subconsciously making myself smaller, because I was like, oh, I want to be a good film actor. And also, like, I was in a newer environment, had gone through some really bad stuff the year before during our junior year, that was not cool. So coming out of that, Sarah Crawford just telling me like, hey, I need you to be a musical theater actor. And something just unlocked, and I was like, oh, I want to be me now. And even though we don't do musicals at reInvent right now, Julia's writing one right now, but
Please call me when you do. I will
Telling
be
you.
on that team.
Heck yeah.
But mine was actually Melpomene and Xanadu.
really,
Yes.
oh my gosh,
Because I am a trained musical theater actress. Like that's my whole bag. That's where I started. And
that's what your undergrad is in, right? It was musical theater.
I took all the musical theater classes, but I had beef with the professor, and she kept me from getting the one class I needed to complete the BFA.
Dang.
Boom!
So technically I have a BS,
Oh,
but I'm
yeah.
always like, no, I technically by training margins, I am a BFA actor.
Yeah.
But when I was doing Melpomene in the musical Xanadu, and I was quite literally humping the stage and having the time of my life. And I was like, okay, this is me having fun. At this
Yeah.
point, it's not about being perfect. It's not about being what anyone else wants. If the director's not correcting me, I don't care. I'm going to have the fun I need, you know? And that kind of, I lost it a little bit last year. Cause like second year of grad school, you question everything
you hate
you've ever
everything
done.
and everyone.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Thanks for that advice, Jessie Chow. But then it was like, hold on. No. And like Witch Doctor gave me that ability to be like, when you looked at me in the rehearsal space, one of the first rehearsals, and went, do what you do.
Yep.
I went, oh, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I need to do.
Yeah.
Well, and I just wanted you to know that I trusted you just with the training that you have, because like I've worked with you in just like kind of like at a distance a little bit, and I've like seen you do work. This was the first time that we got to like actually act together,
Yes,
and
it was.
because I kicked myself so much for not auditioning for Wolves at Tech, because it's one of my favorite plays. But I knew, and I'm glad I didn't, for the sole fact that I was actively dying while writing my thesis, and I do not think it would have been good for me.
Yeah, and mentally that show was a horror.
tough.
Yeah, it's a hard one, and I was just like, nah, this will be around the time that I need to be getting ready to defend, and I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
But I remember watching it being like, I want to be up there with them. They're having fun, and like they're crying and they're yelling at each other, but I want to be there because it's just my kind of show. And I don't know, I've just always admired you on stage, and I'm just like,
cry.
I was like, I know that she's a musical theater girly, which means that she'd be a great villain. And like,
which I make the joke all the time, but I have made a career out of playing villains. That is usually where I get put.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
you are. And some people are like, oh, playing the villain is easy. I think it's very difficult. I've like heard that.
Oh yeah.
There is a formula to it. You know, you have to be likable enough, because if you're just straight evil, the audience isn't going to like you.
Oh
But
yeah.
you have to have that point of likability where the audience is like, I don't know, I might be a little rooting for her.
Well,
No,
it's
well,
like it's like
that's-
heels in WWE. Like you gotta like there are certain heels that I'm like, I cannot stand you as just whenever you're on screen, you piss me off. Like,
And then there's the other heels, their music drops and you're like,
Yeah. Well, that's a thing too, especially with some villains of like, and I didn't realize this until like recently at a different thing. I had looked back at some of the roles I've been cast and was like, oh yeah, I usually play like a jerk,
Which is
of
crazy.
some kind.
It's
A
usually
jerk
the
or an
kindest
old
people.
man.
it is the kindest people who play villains.
But
seriously.
I remember, and this is something I would told my students right after we had done Antelope Party at Texas Tech, and specifically when you have villains who don't start out that way, that you have like extra weight to pull. So specifically with Sean, like I realized is like, no, these first two scenes I have to make the audience fall in love with Sean.
Yeah.
So that they can just feel so betrayed.
When I tell you, because I hadn't read the play before I saw you guys do it. And
Oh, here, hold on. Background about Antelope Party. Bunch of bronies. It's a play about how cults get started.
Yeah.
yes,
And Ben's Brony was really into Pinkie Pie.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of person he was.
Yeah. And, obviously I had gotten to know you very well in classes and all that. Like you two had been like some of my closest confidants up to that point. And seeing that, I literally felt my heart drop when you showed up.
When he showed up in the fedora.
Damn trench coat.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the fedora. I was like, no,
No,
Ben, no, not Ben.
Yeah, but that's a similar thing with Witch Doctor of like those first two scenes as Doc Patterson. You have to the challenge there is making Doc Patterson seem like an innocuous character who is not inconsequential, but someone who is like, oh, we don't, the audience.
I wanted
you flew under the radar.
Yeah, I wanted it to be like, oh, she's just extra.
Yeah,
that's what it is. She's extra, and the costumes I chose lent itself to that. And you really don't know what she is until I showed up with a logo.
Well, and that like was a great between the way that you did your costuming and then the way that you wrote it, Ben, because there were a bunch of extras throughout the different scenes. And some of them would show up in roundup, some of them wouldn't. But when you showed up in a logo, it's like, uh-oh, she's important.
And like every night I would stand backstage for my All About to come up, and I'd wait and I'd see the audience's reactions because I could feel the breath leave the space as soon as you'd hear weakness, none.
And you're like, it's time to go to Eurovision.
It was like
so good.
That was a really fun, I must say, another great directing choice on my end, because most of the All Abouts were read out loud by Rebecca, and her delivery was wonderful with them, and Rebecca cracked me up with how she read these.
So good.
But then I was like, oh, we can do kind of a little uncomfy of having Emma record her All About, and literally just had the Witch Doctor logo. Like, no, because I made like cute little like page things for everybody, and no Witch Doctor
splash cards. Yeah,
splash cards. That's what I was looking for. And it was just the logo, and everybody's like,
Well, and the other thing too was just seeing like. This is my favorite thing was like Rebecca turned these stage directions into their own character. And so it was so like chilling too, because then she would be the last one making her exit, and then it started and she would stop and just stare at it while it was happening.
Yeah.
Rebecca's so good.
Like literally goosebumps.
Yeah.
Because that's what led to her becoming an eldritch being. I was like, there's so much more to her. There is the writing just led me to believe, like, why does she all of a sudden become this big bad? What happened there? And that's why I was like, I even looked at you when we were doing the recording. I was like, I think she's like a parasite. Like, that was the first words I used, was like, she's a parasite.
Yeah, totally.
This is kind of a different lore drop in the sense that we're definitely talking way more about the show and like the design elements and acting choices and directing choices about it. It's a pretty open-ended character right now. Like we don't have her showing up in Universe 17 at all. Yeah, which is the main universe that we do things in.
I think she'd get kicked out just because of her beef.
I think like she'd show up and Ted'd be like,
there's a wanted poster of her face.
That's like that is one of the rules with the founders of like each of them in the Reinvent multiverse. There are 100 universes, so each founder is given 5 universes. It's like, you're in charge of these 5. These are yours. Do with them whatever you will. They're not allowed to step foot in others' universes. And unless, and this is what we see in Ordinary Heroes, someone from that universe is able to like figure out and call upon their actual name.
You and my turf.
So, well, and that's another interesting thing. So she probably has beef with Alan too, because someone tried to call on Alan, right? And with one of his true name is also. It's the one that
It's
Lady
Meister,
Earthquake.
yeah.
Meister.
Meister. That's him?
Yeah, that's Alan.
Get them men out of my universe. Because like I think it's kind of like an older brother situation. I think at certain points they're like, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop. And she's just like, what are you gonna do about it? And this is coming from a place of a younger sibling. I am the youngest sibling.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of like the energy she has with them. So it's like her actions are nothing to them, but to everyone else, it's like she's the worst.
On
And
a
they're like,
cosmic level, it's
they're like, Theranexia's just doing it again. She's just doing that thing. It's more of like a minor annoyance, but she's like, I'm so bad. I'm so evil.
Yeah.
and then all the humans are like, oh my gosh, please stop.
Stop it. Stop.
Before we started recording, you said that you had listened to the Children of Destiny episode, and that made me think, oh, she hates the Children of Destiny because they are not bound to reality or
there's nothing in existence that can control them.
Yeah.
And she's like,
well,
what do you mean?
And I mean, isn't Wendell technically a child?
No,
of,
he is.
And she's like, you're in my universe. You're gonna come into my home and disrespect me in my house. It's like with that Vine. You showed up to my birthday party without a gift for me on my birthday. like that's how she's kind of looking at him, and it's like. And it does intrigue me as to why she's chosen this one child to beef with pretty consistently.
Yeah.
But if there's 4 other universes that she kind of inhabits, it's like, wonder what else she has beef with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting to like we've been friends for 3 years now. Like it was we became pretty fast friends whenever you started at Tech. Oh yeah, hold on. I gotta go back and acknowledge this. Both Emma and Care did this show while prepping for their MFA thesis performances, which were both monodramas. And when I first asked them, I was like, at first I thought both of you would say no. Because I was like, this is just a crapshoot. Let me see if they'll say yes.
Because we also asked Destiny, and Destiny did say no. She was like, no, I have to work on my thesis.
Which I was like, I was totally
We're like fair.
Get it? God.
I didn't even know you had asked Destiny.
Yep, we asked her to be Dark Fog.
Yeah.
Oh, she would have killed that.
Yeah.
Liz did great though. Like
No,
Liz
awesome.
killed it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like a Destiny had been reading Dark Fog in all of
script
the
writers.
Script writers and all of that.
And she had been there since the first draft, right?
Yeah.
So
she was there at the J&B reading.
Yeah. Oh man.
She was in the audience.
Yeah. It was so we were like, we wanted to like get people, but obviously.
Yeah.
When I went and saw your guys' thesis performances, I was like, how did you, why did you do these at the same time? Because it was, I mean, I asked a lot of everybody for Ordinary Heroes.
And this is why I said, you get one scene without my book in hand.
And,
Yeah,
you know, I was like, yeah, fair.
One. Because like it was 45 minutes on stage. And mine, like particularly, it was a heavy subject to deal with. It was about Hurricane Katrina. I am a Hurricane Katrina survivor. I was 4 years old when it hit. And so I told that story. And it was hard, but it was also like, I had been in the first reading at JMB, and I had read for Dark Fog and Doc Patterson. This was before Witch Doctor was like, she was probably in the script, but it was not in the version we had read. And I was like, you know, I was in the first like reading of Doc Patterson, and I want to see this through because I don't know if I'm staying in town, you know, because like I might be getting up and moving, and I knew this would be kind of my last chance to work with you guys. And you guys were so pivotal in my journey at Texas Tech, and I love you guys so much, you know. And I was like, if I can make one sacrifice, if it's just one, I will sacrifice my sanity and one of my ponytail wigs just to play this character for Ben and Abby, out of like sheer love for you guys.
Also, thank you for not telling any of the professors or asking permission for it.
The only professor who knew was Chris Staley.
Nice.
And he went, you don't need to fill it out. And I went,
Thank you, Chris.
Well, it's also like the show is happening over a break anyway.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
like
what are they
whatever.
gonna do?
because it only encroached on I think 1 week of the semester, maybe 2, if even.
No, it was the first week of classes.
It was the first week of classes, and it was the first times we could get in the space for monodramas. And Kara and I looked at each other and went, all-nighters next week. All-nighters next week. And then we were just in there helping each other. And
Thank you, Chris Daly. Fun fact, I did threaten whenever we were going through our plethora of Red Notices, I did threaten to ask Chris Daly to play Red Notice.
Yeah.
I could have given him a wig. I have many.
I was like, I'm either putting Chris Daly or James Cross in there. And so I was like, this next one better stick.
I could have done
Shout
double
out
duty.
Lindsay.
I could have changed out wigs mid-scene. Carl!
crazy.
Carl!
That'd be
Carl,
wild.
stop! Shut up, fool! Like, just
No, Lindsay was
a Harvey Dent thing.
Lindsay was so wonderful as Red Notice, and I'm
Yes.
so glad that we ended up with her. But I
So
was
down to earth with it too.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
very grounded, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, everybody in the show, wonderful
Yeah.
thing. So,
I,
but thank you for sacrificing your sanity to do this show, because I could not imagine the show without you and Care in it. Like truly, like I was like, I don't know who we would have gotten for it. And the show truly was like a divinely put together cast. Like everyone who came and brought themselves to the process, like just everybody just gave so much. And I couldn't have asked for a better group of people. And such a wonderful hodgepodge of our Lubbock communities. Of
Yeah.
like, we got like a handful of TTU people, got a handful of like people that did stuff with LCT, a handful of people who have been doing stuff with Reinvent. Just squish them all together.
Yeah.
And it,
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it was great for me to get out of my head, especially like going into monodrama, and then right after monodrama close, what practice starts? you know, right
Yeah,
back into
really.
Sweeney Todd. But it was a chance for me to get to do something fun that wasn't like directly involved with like my degree.
Yeah, well, and I remember too having that experience with when I directed Mousetrap at LCT, and I remember coming in like the day after that show closed and talking with one of our professors, and they asked us like, "Oh, how was that?" And I was like, "It was just nice." That's all I have to say. And it was like, it was nice doing something that wasn't tied to this, like to studies or research or anything, you know, just doing it for love of the game.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well, and again, like just getting to see you run with your specialty of playing a baddie was it was so fun.
But and it was interesting to me because like usually when you play a villain, you have to be like, oh, they're doing this for like a greater good. They have a greater good in their mind. That is the greater
Right.
good.
Love of the game.
She's in it for love of the game.
Yeah.
She just hates these kids. She
Yeah.
is just unreasonably cruel with no other like, this is for the greater good.
No.
Like even after being like, oh, she's the founder of reality. Even then, she could have had other ways of doing this.
No.
Yeah.
She could have taken another path.
I love it.
Yeah.
There need to be more villains.
Women who are just bad to be bad.
Yeah, love of the game. Make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my love of the game is bullying children.
Particularly this one. It's I think that this is going to be something that even if when you move away from our dusty
Because
town,
it's an if when.
Yeah.
It is an if when.
and if when this is going to be a character that like I mean anytime that we start writing stuff about the founders, like we're going to call you up to get
Yeah,
your
like I've
input.
said, like put me in a voiceover
Yeah.
over something and just have Ted and Ellen yell at me. Go away!
Yeah.
Stop it!
Nobody wants you here.
Because I don't know what universe is the spy show in. Is that
That is 17.
It's
That is
17?
That is Ted's.
okay? So I could do a voiceover and be like, "Hey, Ted."
She's like, no, not your show.
Stop it. No, you got to be the bad guy in the
Yeah.
last show. Don't take this from me. No, there's so much. There's so much
Yeah.
that is yet to be discovered
Yeah,
about
and
this character.
there is a whole notes app worth of things. Like I even made like a symbol that I drew on my forearm.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was nutty.
Every night.
I was like, man, commit.
The Patterson tick is what I started
Yeah.
to call it, and it's
That's
what
good.
she'd put on bodies to resurrect them, because if
So
she
cool.
says a word, the other founders might hear it.
Yeah.
So if she has a symbol,
It
they'd
was
have
so
to
cool.
be in the universe and see
I remember
it.
there was a night that Lark and I both had that on our arms. So we're just like, this is fun.
This is fun, and that's how she starts.
Yeah.
And that's why she had a whole cult in ancient Greece
Yeah.
that she led to believe she was a god when she wasn't.
That's
Yeah.
on brand, to be completely honest.
Yeah, there's one more section I want to bring up, and this is specifically, I genuinely only started thinking about this morning because of the specific day that we are recording this on. So for reference, today is the 12-year anniversary of when I was a sophomore in high school, and this is an event that is directly referenced in Ordinary Heroes. One of my classmates did commit suicide. Um, um, and so I remember like driving to school and I was like, I just don't know what's up. Like my brain is not having it today. And then I texted Abby halfway through the day. I was like, I figured it out. I looked at the calendar.
And I said, do you want me to reschedule Emma's recording? Because maybe we should.
Yeah.
But the thing is that made me start thinking about how the first play I ever wrote,
was really
it was
sad.
So my senior year, my high school had like I think, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention before this or if this was the first/only year that this happened. They had a senior playwriting contest that seniors could write a one-act play and submit it to our drama teacher, and and they would read it and be like, okay, whoever is the winner of this, we will bring this to our, like, we called it I think it was Thespian Fest or Drama Fest is what it was called. It was basically all of the American high schools in Germany would like get together, and basically the equivalent of, like, not the equivalent, a much smaller scale version of one act or UIL that we have here in Texas. And so I wrote this play called Another Day in September. That was very much, it was about, the main character was a guy named Nelson, and not super similarly, but there's echoes of it throughout the whole first half of this play. There's basically these two voices in his head that are characters on stage. They're called Slim and Mills, and Slim is the negative dark one, and Mills is the more like positive bright one, right? And they're sort of always arguing. No other characters can actually see these two, and Nelson can, like, I haven't read it I haven't read this in years, but it's like there's an extent of, like, he interacts with them a little bit, but halfway through the play, he does commit suicide because the whole thing, Slim is trying to convince him to kill himself this whole time, and then he does. Slim and Mills disappear from the rest of the show, and so does Nelson. The second half of the show is the impact that it has on the other people around him in his life, including, like, his roommate, one of his, like, coworkers, his childhood friends, and including just a random stranger who he would just pass by on the street every day. And so I remember this was shortly after Abby and I had started dating, and this was, again, another thing referenced in the play was that I still had lots of moving boxes that I had not unpacked. And there was one box.
And those did not get unpacked until
we got married.
We got married.
But there was one box that we ended up looking through that had my old folder of all of my theater stuff from senior year of high school. And in that was a draft of Another Day in September. And I remember, I don't even think I was the one who read it. It was me. Yeah, Abby read it. And it was one that, like, I think I skimmed through it like a couple of days later, but it was much like Wendell has in volume 3, issue 2, a moment of, like, why did I write this? Why did I do this type of thing? And, like, I know why I wrote it. Again, it was very much attempting to process that own
the grief,
crazy event and grief in my own life. Right. And so the more I was thinking and stewing on that, I don't know. Ordinary Heroes feels like a finalization of that idea of all these things, of, like, Witch Doctor is like the progression evolution of that Slim character, and Captain Amazing is the Mills in entity, right? Of they're both serving these purposes and everything. And it's one that like it is. I remember because in high school, Another Day in September was not selected for Drama Fest. I think there were 5 plays that were submitted, and my teacher, Miss Hens, she told me after they had chosen winners, she was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, you got second place by half a point," and I was like, "That's
half a
crazy."
point?
Yeah, the one that won was a play about Vincent Van Gogh, and it was very good, and it was fun to be in, but. It wasn't nearly as depressing, and I think that's
Well.
probably where that half a point comes from.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember that Miss Henson said to me, she was like, "I just wish that we could do all of these plays because I love all 5 of them." And I just told her, like, well, the musical's done and Drama Fest is done. We have another like month of school. We could. And then she went and talked to our principal. And then I remember there was a day she brought me and the other playwrights to lunch with the principal. The principal had read all of our plays, and she was like, "Hey, I love these. Let's do them." And so
Good on them.
it was, honestly, a little bit of a weird precursor to First Light, oddly enough, which is a student play fest at Texas Tech. But it was one that like me and the other senior playwrights organized auditions and callbacks and casting and rehearsals and Tech Week and performances.
Is that where the Nerf gun play is from?
Yes, that's where the Nerf gun plays from. Turbo Apocalypse Omega Squad 9 million.
It's awesome.
New band name, I call it.
Shout out Mitchell. But I remember doing this, and we put the two sad plays first, intermission, and then the 2 lighter plays after that. And so Another Day in September was the one right before the intermission. And I remember that, and like people, specifically other like seniors and juniors, would come to me like, "Hey, I remembered that like brought me back to this place, and it made me very emotional in this way." But that play was very sad and depressing and really just devoid of hope. And there was there was one specific night with Ordinary Heroes. Doing great. Where 2 of my students came to see the show. We're good.
This is gonna get me too.
And the fun is the weird word to use
Fun
for
is
this
the
one.
wrong. Fun is the incorrect
The
word.
thing is,
Interesting.
after the show was done, my students like came into the booth. It's great. But like he came into the booth just like sobbing, and this is like the difference this time is like happy tears. Because one like the play it still deals with all of these dark and very heavy things, but still has that like hopeful still has that like hopeful ending to it. And I don't know. It feels I still don't have words for how it feels like having gone through the show and everything.
For me, seeing that happen, just because, like, I've gotten to just have brief moments with these kids, and the kids that Ben has at Coronado this year, just the best. And I think them getting to see that their teacher that they love gets them is so important, because there can be so many times where, like, when we're teenagers and when we're younger and we're like, nobody understands how I feel. They don't get it.
And your emotions are unique,
Yeah.
but we've been there,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
It's like it's not the same, but like we understand what it's like to carry that and not understand. And we as 20 somethings understand what it's like to not be able to process those
Yeah.
emotions. And that's a big thing there, because that's part of the fight, is not understanding how to process it. And then, like, when you lash out either at yourself or at the things you love or people that you love, and all of that. And it was just really special to get to see a handful of your kids, like, come see and get to know Mr. Smith better. And I don't know, there's just something about this show that is just going to be sitting with, obviously, with both of us, and I think everybody that was part of it for a while. And maybe someday we'll figure out
Yeah.
how to put words to it.
And
But
I completely forgot we had the Ramstein connection, because
Yeah.
that's where my dad went to high school.
yes, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that was a crazy
yeah.
like crossover
And
episode.
Yeah.
but it's like, even though I didn't go there, I have this insane connection with the place, because that's where all my dad's stories come from. I have the Letterman jacket
Yeah.
that has the royal
Mhm.
patch
Yeah.
on it for drama.
Yeah.
And I'm like, to get to carry on not the legacy, but like the thing that obviously formed you and formed your artistic process in some way, and be able to say, I don't understand exactly, but I can make this villain be what she needs to do, but still be respectful of exactly what happened.
Well,
and how
and
younger you felt, you know?
it was, in order to have that hope at the end, we had to have a really bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The overcoming evil with good thing, that was I mean, you got to have like a big evil to
Yeah.
overcome, and it's like you did what we needed.
And it was hard. That's why I had to make
Yeah.
the jokes in the booth, or
Yeah.
else I wasn't gonna make it.
Totally.
Because
yeah.
she
sucked.
I personify each of my characters, and this is why I like to wear wigs, right?
Yeah.
So I can take off a piece of them at the end of the night and will you wear wigs? Emma will always wear wigs. But it was, if I had to muscle her weight that whole time I was in that costume, I would have
Yeah.
suffocated because of how much I put into it, how much you guys put into it, just what she represents. What we do inherently has this spiritual-esque side to it, you know? And I was playing with some dark stuff, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that energy was on the stage. But if I didn't joke around with Ben in the booth, I was going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Because I've always marked like you and Ben as like safe people. Like if I was going through something, I could be like, Ben, Abby, please.
Yeah.
You know?
Come
Yeah,
on
we
over.
got you.
Yeah. and I think the joking is what helped me through it. So thank you for allowing me to be a silly, goofy guy
Oh, yeah.
when I was
Oh yeah. No. If you
causing
We
green
love
if you
lightning.
had gone method for Witch Doctor, I would have been like, get out of here.
Emma, take your Wellbutrin.
Sponsored by.
Sponsor.
Please.
Crazy. But yeah. So there's a lot of like really fun full circle moments that between all the stuff.
Yeah, and you guys gave, because me and Care had done a show together every year of grad school, and we weren't going to get one this year because they're not in Sweeney, and it's a whole thing. But you guys gave us our last show together, and it was all the neurotypicals.
All the neurotypicals. Oh.
And we got to recreate the famous photo of Abby, Care, and I
yeah.
from the Wolves.
My soccer mom
Yeah.
era.
Yeah.
No, it's life is fun and life is funny, and sometimes you just gotta laugh at it because life is also hard.
Tee hee ha ha.
But we get to make art with it.
Yeah.
And
The horrors
sometimes-
persist, and so do
So
I.
do we.
You know what would help? a Wellbutrin sponsorship.
Crazy.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
On that note, before we wrap up this episode, Emma, would you like to give a shout out to any projects or...
If you are in the Lubbock area and you like spooky, scary things, I am currently playing Mrs. Lovett in TTU's production of Sweeney Todd. There are 2 Mrs. Lovetts, so if you want to see me, you'll have to come see the Razor cast.
Razor cast.
Yes, Razor and Sheer. Those are the
That's
cast
cool.
names.
Those are great.
I love that.
There are often such stupid like double cast names.
Yeah, like I was in Willy Wonka once, and there was Gumdrop and Bubblegum cast.
Oh.
I was in the Gumdrop cast.
At least that one's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Paris and London, that one was for Flat Stanley. Did you know there was a Flat Stanley musical?
What?
Yes, I played the postwoman, Mrs.
That's
Catero.
That's
Crazy.
wild.
Yes, and we were the Paris and London cast. There's the Paris. It's a crate. Look it up. It's wild.
Dang.
but you're playing Miss Lovett.
I'm playing Mrs. Lovett, so if you want to come see me once again, be awful. I'll be there in a red wig every night and bright blue eyeshadow.
Ooh.
We love a blue eyeshadow moment.
Mhm.
That's really fun.
Trading in my green for blue.
Emma, thank you so much for having this fun conversation about Witch Doctor.
Of course.
And I'll just be in all the theater things. Our next episode is going to be with the wonderful Melissa, who played Miss Fortune in Ordinary Heroes. We get to talk about another magical girly.
Calling on the wrong person, but I'll let it slide.
Listen, Ted's nicer. Anyway, can't argue with that.
Allegedly.
So check out, stay tuned for the next episode. I was really excited to chat with her about Misfortune. And we joke about sponsorships a little bit, but not really. We have some really great projects coming up. So if you're interested in supporting us, whether it's financially or with just sharing podcast episodes, anything you can do to help us out, we really appreciate it, even if it's just sharing this little episode with somebody. Our website, you can find a bunch of different ways that you can keep up with us, and we're just really happy to be sharing our community with Lubbock and the rest of the world.
And remember, being fantastic starts with being a fan.
Emma committed.
Yeah.
That was full.
There was some Witch Doctor intonation in that.
Reinvent Productions is proudly sponsored by 5 Points Corporation Lubbock and Savannah Rashida Photography, as well as our other wonderful community patrons. Our home base in Lubbock is Hollingsworth Hall Cultural Center at 4228 Boston Avenue. For more information on how to support our 501c3 organization, you can check out our website at www.reinvent-productions.com. To directly support our upcoming audio drama, you can become a Lore Drop sponsor. For just $10, you can sponsor an episode of this podcast. All donations will go towards support for our upcoming production of Children of Destiny Cataclysm Season 1, which will begin releasing episodes June 22nd, 2026. Funds will go towards paying our wonderful voice actors and creative staff for their fantastic talent and time. We have over 30 artists globally working on this production, and we can't wait for you to hear it this summer. You can donate at givebutter.com/Lore Drop sponsor. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at reinvent.productions, as well as on Facebook and Twitch, where we stream gaming and a look behind the scenes on how we create our new works. Be sure to follow us to stay in the loop about upcoming productions, auditions, and more. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Lore Drop.
Sorry.
There's our like end of there's our
After
post-credit.
credits bit.
Me in the background.